Hello and welcome to another Rock Climber Life video. I'm your host, Jeff Stafford. Today I'm going to compare every GRIGRI that Petzl has ever made. I'm going to try and help you choose between all of these GRIGRIs and decide if you need to upgrade if you have an old version, which one do I choose? Okay guys, like I said, this is the GRIGRI comparison video. I'm going to talk about all the GRIGRIs and go over them, the features, and then at the end I'm going to give my opinion on if you should upgrade to the newer versions, or if you don't have a GRIGRI, which one do you choose? First off, let's get right into it. First off is the GRIGRI Gen 1. This thing has been around for a long time, since 1991. So that's 28 years now in 2019. So it's seen a lot of use. People all over the world have used this thing for a really long time. The overall weight of this device is 225 grams. And the optimal rope size, or what Petzl recommends you use for rope size, is 10 to 11. So that's the only problem with the GRIGRI one is back in the 90s, you know, 10 to 11 millimeter ropes were standard. These days, ropes are getting skinnier and skinnier for single ropes. It also has the large finger catch on the side here. This is a really nice feature and something I use all the time when I belay. I'll show that in a close-up, but I don't see too many people use the finger catch. I really like it, so the large finger catch is really nice. This is the largest device by far. It's got a really long handle, and I guess, you know, depending on how you look at it, whether it's a problem or it's or an advantage, Petzl really hit this out of the ballpark, you know, when they made this back in 1991. So the follow-on generations, while they have been improvements, yes, they're somewhat small, and the overall design, the layout, the way you use the GRIGRI has never changed. So this is the original, kind of the OG, if you will, the Gen 1 GRIGRI. Can't get this anymore. It's been around forever. Let's get on to the GRIGRI 2. The GRIGRI 2 was the first major upgrade since 1991. This came out in 2011, so still going on 8 years now, but I see these are probably the most popular I see out at the crag, just because, you know, climbing, there was a big boom in the 2010 and beyond time frame. So you see the most of these out at the crag, much smaller, much lighter than the original GRIGRI. This clocks in at 170 grams versus the 225 from the original. And the big advantage with this one is the rope range went from an 8.9 up to an 11. So you essentially doubled your range in rope thickness that you can use on this device. Just the way the cam is designed has kind of a ledge to it, and it really improved that for a lot of people, because, like I said, ropes are getting skinnier and skinnier. These follow-on additions of the GRIGRI, they also on the back, they showed kind of a 2-star range and a 3-star range. The 3-star being the optimal range of where you want to use this as far as rope thickness, and then kind of the shoulders were the 2-star range, where you're on the skinny end and the fat end. So the 3-star range, where this is the best, where the GRIGRI 2 shines, is 9.4 to 10.3. So that's kind of right in the range where people buy ropes these days. Yeah, there are some 9.2s, you know, things getting skinnier, but 9.4 to 10.3 is kind of that sweet spot, and that's its 3-star zone, where the 8.9 to 9.4 is the 2-star, and the 10.3 to 11 is a 2-star. This also has a large finger catch, which I really like, but overall the fit is much smaller. The handle is much smaller. I think that was a slight drawback, perhaps, especially for somebody like me who has big hands. The handle being smaller, it's just a little bit more difficult to use and control. So that's the GRIGRI 2. Then in 2017, just a couple years ago, they came out with a big shift and a big change as far as, you know, GRIGRIs go, because like I said, they're all pretty similar. This is the GRIGRI Plus. I would say that this is probably the safest device, or the GRIGRI with the most safety features built in. It's a bit heavier, it's 200 grams. The rope range is, again, even more expanded than the GRIGRI 2. So now we're at 8.5 to 11 for the overall range, with the sweet spot being 8.9 to 10.5. So we're even stretching out that 3-star zone for where the GRIGRI Plus works. It also has 2 wear plates, so that's interesting. There's a stainless steel wear plate that kind of starts on the inside and wraps around the shoulder of the device, and then of course just the main device itself, the main outer casing itself, is a wear plate as well. So it has 2 wear plates. It also has an anti-panic function. Now when I first started using this, I was trying to figure out how it worked. Basically, there's some other devices on the market, so when this thing is loaded up, if you keep pulling on the cam, it will slip and then it'll lock back up. So that's the anti-panic function. So if somebody kind of is belaying you and they freak out, the biggest I would say safety issue with the GRIGRI is if you tense up and you freak out and you pull harder, they just fall even faster. So the anti-panic function helps that out, and it will lock that cam back open, or lock that cam back closed. It also has the belay mode dial. So again, a lot of features here in the GRIGRI Plus. The belay mode dial is on the back, and what this is you can either put it in lead mode or top rope mode. So it just has a dial right on the back, and I was trying to understand, what does this thing actually do? So I almost had to reverse engineer it. What this does is this just changes the spring tension in the device. So there's spring tension associated with how the cam operates. When you put it in lead mode, the spring tension is stiffer, or there's more tension in the system. So that when you're belaying a leader, you don't have those like nuisance cam activations. So it takes more tension to activate the cam. When you put it in top rope mode, you're not worried about paying out slack like you are when you're belaying a leader, so that decreases the spring tension, and it will lock up much easier. On the inside, it also has a small area for, you can write your name or get it engraved, I guess, if you really want. It has a small nameplate. It has a larger cam on the inside, which is how they're engineering those larger rope ranges. The biggest issue I see with the GRIGRI Plus is the finger catch. It's very small. It has the smallest finger catch. Doesn't really have any lip to it, and it has a little bit longer handle than the GRIGRI 2. So that's a nice bonus. I think Petzl found out that the smaller handle is, like I said, more difficult to use. So they made the handle a little bit longer on the follow-on generations with the GRIGRI Plus. It also has a couple extra safety features built in, one of which is there's this extra lip right here on the back. So when you are lowering, sometimes the climber end, I've heard it happen, I've never seen it personally, but it is possible that the climber end of the rope could slide under with the previous generation. With this generation, it has this kind of edge right here, this piece of metal, so the climber's end can't slide under and it'll stay in position. So that's the GRIGRI Plus. There's a lot going on with it. Oh, in addition, the belay mode dial, it has a pin, so this thing isn't going to keep going back and forth on you. It has a little pin that you can lock it into place. Now the last one, the new 2019. Brand new for this year. This is the GRIGRI. Funny enough, they didn't call it the GRIGRI 3, they just went back to the GRIGRI. So 175 grams, about the same as the GRIGRI 2. However, it's got that same huge great rope range that the GRIGRI Plus has. So 8.5 all the way up to 11, with the 3-star range being 8.9 to 10.5. It doesn't have all those built-in safety features that the GRIGRI Plus has. This is more of your standard GRIGRI. It has a nameplate on the inside, the larger cam for that increased range. That's how they get that. Has the longer handle, same as the GRIGRI Plus, which is great. But then they put that finger catch back on there. I really like that. The finger catch is great. And then again, that extra safety feature, that piece of metal right here on the side, like I said, to keep the climber end from slipping under accidentally. So this is the latest and greatest. Really nice fit and finish. Overall, looks great. But you know, all the GRIGRIs are great. So that's pretty much in a nutshell the features of each GRIGRI throughout the years. Now I'm going to tell you my opinion on all these GRIGRIs, and would you upgrade, or which one do you choose, what to do, because you know, you're probably watching this video and saying, wow, these kind of all look the same. They are, you know, they're all GRIGRIs. So first of all, let's start with the GRIGRI 1. If you have one of these and you use a thick rope, call it 10-1 is kind of a standard number, 10-1, 10-2, 10-3, all the way up to 11, and you like it and it works for you, that's fine. Stick with the GRIGRI 1. If you're getting into skinnier ropes, it's difficult to find thicker than 10 mil ropes these days. If you're getting into the 9 range, gotta upgrade. This is no longer safe. It is heavy, and it just doesn't have the same fit and finish and kind of smooth rounded edges. You know, it kind of has like some sharp edges where you could cross load a beaner. It's happened to me. You know, it's easy to fix, of course, because it's right on your harness, but yeah, it just doesn't have the same fit and finish as the new ones. So that's the biggest thing. If you use thinner ropes, this has got to go. If you use thicker ropes and you still like it, sure, you can still keep it. It's still a great device. It's been that way for 28 years. The GRIGRI 2, kind of a mess here. Here we go, the GRIGRI 2. The GRIGRI 2 was a great improvement over the GRIGRI 1. It's a lot lighter, and it really increased that rope range. 9.4 to 10.3 is again that 3-star range. If you're using skinnier ropes than that, I have friends that use 9.2s as kind of their send rope, you know, the lightest rope they can get. This has got to go. You got to get the new one. So if you're using the skinniest ropes on the market for single rope applications, you got to get the new one. If you use that 9.4 to 10.3 and you like the GRIGRI 2 and it works for you, and you like the smaller handle, if you have smaller hands and you don't have a problem with the small handle, keep it. It's a great device. It's been around since 2011, and I see probably the most of these out at the crag. These are very, very popular, and they'll probably stay that way until you start seeing the new ones pop in people's packs. So again, 9.4 to 10.3. If you're getting in that smaller range, gotta upgrade. The GRIGRI Plus. Next is the GRIGRI Plus. This is what I would consider a specialty device. It is more expensive because it has all these safety features. Why would you ever buy this? Here's the reason. If you own a climbing wall, a climbing gym, if you have a lot of different belayers of all different abilities belaying you or belaying at your facility, if you own a guiding company, this is the answer. That's what I think the reason for this device is. This has all those safety features. If you're going to have people top roping, learning to lead, all those different things, this is where this shines. It has the most safety features. It has all sorts of stuff going on. It has that increased range. But I wouldn't necessarily get the GRIGRI Plus because of the range. I would get it because of the safety features. If you have new belayers or a variety of belayers because you work at a wall, you're a guide, this is the one you want. I think that's where this device shines, is if you have a lot of people using your device. It is the safest. If you can define a GRIGRI as, like, you know, safe or safer or safest, this is the safest, the most features. So for guides and climbing walls, GRIGRI Plus. Now the the GRIGRI, the 2019 version. If you're using really skinny ropes, if you're using like 9.2s, 9.0s, get this one. It also has the longer handle. So if the GRIGRI 2, if you have big hands like me and you want a longer handle, this is an improvement for sure. It's going to be a smoother device. It's going to be easier to use, and it has that increased range. So that's pretty much the difference between the GRIGRI 2 and the GRIGRI, you know, the new GRIGRI is the increased range and the longer handle. And then the added safety feature of this back end, larger can, things like that. But those are more minor than, to me, than the increased handle length and the rope range. So that's why I would get the GRIGRI, the new GRIGRI. If you don't have a device and you're an experienced belayer, then you get the GRIGRI, because that's what's available right now. And it's the best of the 3 standard GRIGRIs. If you don't have a device, or if you are a guide, like I said, and you're working a climbing wall, then you get the GRIGRI Plus. So pretty much that is what is available now, is the GRIGRI Plus and the new GRIGRI. So hopefully that makes sense. The fit and finish of this is fantastic. It just has rounded corners. Everything is very smooth. You know, it's not going to hang up on your carabiner, you know, getting cross-loaded. It's a great device. Petzl, you know, knocked it out of the park again. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I hope that makes sense and you can make a good decision on which GRIGRI to get. And with that, this has been another Rock Climber Life video. Thanks for watching.